In this video, we will be going over some cool old vintage cameras and lenses that I recently purchased. What's up everybody, I'm Jake McHugh and this channel is all about making better videos. I do gear reviews and test videos to help you determine what gear you need to make the videos you want to achieve. If that's something that may interest you, consider hitting that subscribe button down below. A while back, I went to a local thrift store of mine and I came across a bunch of old film cameras and lenses. Now you may wonder why I would buy all these old camera lenses if I would have a hard time finding film. To answer this, I really don't care about the cameras at all, and I had to buy these all as kits and kits only, and I love adapting old vintage glass on our modern 4K cameras. With the sensors used in modern cameras today, we have a very sharp image coming straight out of camera, and what I like about vintage lenses is it just takes the edge off of that sharpness and it gives it a more film or cinema look at a very affordable price. I will break down each one of these kits and go through each lens and which ones I like the best, along with the adapters I like to use. Most of the products mentioned in this video, I will have links down in the description below so it's easier for you to find them on Amazon or eBay. In the first kit, I paid $35 for everything that you see here, and we have a Pantex camera body with a quantity 33 to 80 millimeter lens. It came with a JCPenney's 2-time teleconverter and an old style flash as well. It also came with these two other lenses right here, and we have the JCPenney's 135 millimeter f2.8 and an SMC Pentax-M 50 millimeter f2. The two lenses I used the most in this kit were primarily these two primes right here. The JCPenney's 135 millimeter was made in the 1980s, I believe, in Korea, and I like this for very detailed B-roll shots, and I think it would make a great interview or portrait style lens on the cheap. The out of focus areas aren't distracting and are pretty smooth, and with the compression it just makes for a really nice looking image, and I think this is an incredible value for the money. This Pentax-M lens was made from 1979 to 1985, and it's kind of just a basic 50 millimeter vintage lens, but it feels a little lighter and it's smaller in size, and this is due to its more plastic build compared to other vintage lenses. The colors have a really nice punch to them, and this kind of just makes up for its overall just okay performance. There's nothing that really sold me on this lens other than the fact of its size, which is kind of nice, and just the colors that you get with it. If I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't spend much time with the zoom lens in this kit because it never really interested me, and I feel like there's other vintage lenses out there that are worth trying before this one. When it comes to adapters, I found that these lenses can be a little bit trickier to adapt with being the PK mount, and I prefer to adapt all my lenses to Canon EF, as it is a versatile lens mount and I can adapt it to most camera systems. But with these lenses, there is an aperture control lever or guard that may get in the way depending on your camera system. On a Canon DSLR, you'll have to worry about the mirror slapping the guard, and unfortunately I really want to use this on my Speedbooster for my GH5, but the guard prevent this as well. This mount works a lot better when you can adapt it straight to mirrorless cameras like Sony E mount or Micro Four Thirds, as the adapters then cover the control lever and guard, like this one does right here. For the second kit, I paid $40 for everything here, and it came with a Gaf L-17 camera, and on this camera we have a 28mm f2.8 focal MC auto lens. This kit also came with an old school flash, a roll of film, which I'm not even really sure if it works anymore, and this little bag here as well. For the other two lenses right here, there is a focal MC macro zoom lens, and we have a auto Chinon 55mm f1.7. The focal MC lenses were the house brand for Kmart back in the day, I believe, and the macro zoom lens would just be like a cheap product lens in my opinion, and the 28mm would be great on a full frame camera for street photography, but when you put it on either an APS-C camera or on a Speedbooster with my GH5, I get around a full frame equivalent of 40mm, which I love because that's a perfect in-between focal length between a 35 and a 50mm prime. Overall, the price is cheap on these two lenses because there really isn't anything crazy about them. The Auto Chinon was made in Japan in the 1960s until the 1980s, and this is really the reason I bought this kit, because I remember the brand from a video that Caleb from DSLR Video Shooter did, where he built a budget cinema lens kit using all Auto Chinon primes. I happen to like this lens a lot because the bokeh is really smooth and it gives it a very film-like image straight out of camera. But the biggest thing about this lens is the focus throw. The focus ring on this lens might be the smoothest one I've ever used, and the focus throw is huge, almost like a cinema lens, and this is really awesome for dialing in focus. These lenses are M42 or screw mount, and I love this mount due to the fact that it's very easy to adapt and it has a solid feel to it when being adapted with little to no play in it. I use this really nicely built adapter made by PhotoDiox, which converts it to Canon EF, so I can easily mount these lenses to my Speedbooster for my GH5 or the Sony E mount mount for my A6400. One quick tip I can give you is if you're using a Canon EF adapter or Speedbooster that has electronic contacts, is to make sure that you put some tape of some sort on the back of the M42 adapter, and this prevents the adapter from shorting out the electronic contacts and getting those lens disconnected errors on your camera. I mentioned this in another video where I go over the Speedbooster that I use, and I'll have that linked up in the cards and down in the description below if you want to check that out. For the third and final kit, I paid $75, and for the camera body, we have the Reco XR7 with an SMC Takumar 50mm f1.4. And if you guys know anything about vintage lenses, you know that this lens here alone is worth what I paid for this kit, if not more. This kit also came with a 2x teleconverter and a generic macro zoom lens once again, and it also came with a Tokina 28mm f2.8 prime lens. The macro zoom lens can be found cheaply and again would be a cheap solution for a product photography lens, and I really like this Tokina 28mm for everything except for one condition or problem that I have with it, and that is that it flares super easily whenever it's pointed near a light source. This would be okay if you're going for a certain look, but it could be problematic when you're trying to get a normal shot, and it's pretty hard to flake off due to the fact that it's a little bit wider. The SMC Takumar 50mm f1.4 is by far the best lens in this kit, if not out of all the lenses mentioned throughout this whole video. And I happened to be researching this lens a lot and looking for one on eBay before going to the thrift store, so it's kind of a coincidence that I came across one, especially with how pristine of a condition this is, and at the price it was kind of a steal. This series or model dates all the way back to 1965, and this version with the rubber focus ring was made from 1972 to 1975 and has 7 lens elements and 8 aperture blades, giving you a nice circle and smooth bokeh in the out of focus areas. You typically can find this lens for around $70 and up US in usable condition. This lens is everything that I've heard about and more. I love the micro contrast and the color rendition that I get from this lens, and it has that near perfect blend of modern sharpness and vintage look. Big time YouTuber and filmmaker Armando is the one who got me hooked on this lens, and I will link to the video where he talks about it and pairs it with his Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. These lenses are M42 or screw mount just like the last kit, so all the same adapters will apply to these lenses as well. Overall, I'm happy with the purchase I made, and I love using vintage lenses because of the style or character they give my footage, and there's always a history lesson to go with them as well. The best part is that they're only a fraction of the price compared to modern lenses today. Make sure to drop a comment down below and let me know which kit you liked best or which one you thought was the best deal. And if there's a vintage lens that wasn't mentioned in this video that you like, make sure you let me know down in the comments below as well, as I can't get enough of these lenses. So that's going to do it for this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed it and got something out of it. If you liked this video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure you hit the bell, that way you get notified when I drop future videos just like this one here. And last but not least, I will catch you guys in the next video.